touchdown they gave up. They lose by 6. If they just hold and don't give up that big play.
And a safety at the end of the
game, they can walk away from this really beating themselves up because they had a legitimate shot at knocking off the Kansas City Chiefs.
And I just give them the credit for the resiliency. They're down, they went up 10-0, 28 straight points by the Kansas City Chiefs, but yet they come back in there. And the way Tua finished the game, taking his team down the field, that is going to be something to me that they can build off of. And you watch him right there, Phil, I thought, he did a lot of good things.
Oh, he actually did. I thought he hung in there. It was a rough day. He hurt his ankle early. Gesicki for the touchdown. Man, every team lets him get out to his left, and he is deadly throwing the football on the run. I mean, the quick passes over the middle early in the game, went down the field when he had to. Well, that was a nice throw to Gesicki again for the touchdown. Hope he's okay. But 28 of 48, 316, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 rushing touchdown. And I think you said it right. The Miami Dolphins, they hung in there and they fought. They got a very young offensive line. They got pushed around for quite a while. And then they what's really amazing, once you start getting beat, it kind of continues that way. But their offensive line kind of hung in there, and Tua finished up the game strong. So, you know what they found out? Kansas City didn't even play their best game. They just go, that's what you got to try to aspire to be. You see what the cream of the crop is.
Well, it's the point. It reminds me of the Super Bowl last year. Patrick Mahomes didn't play great in the first half, and then all of a sudden, in the fourth quarter, they turn it on and they win the game. It's almost like, giving the other team some opportunities, but they are so good and so confident, as you heard Patrick talking to Tracy after the game, that they don't worry about it. They'll just go on to the next series. And really, I'll tell you what, Patrick Mahomes is an amazing, amazing player. And I sit here and I say that every single week. And you would consider this a bad first half, and yet they still have 33 points.
And you mentioned the Super Bowl, how it reminds you of that. How about the game before that, the AFC Championship game? How about the game before that, when they played against the Texans, they were down by 3 touchdowns? What does that say? When you're a defense and you're just fighting your hearts out, and Pat Mahomes has what looks like a bad day with 3 turnovers, but yet and still, third and fourth quarter, he can close out a game.
I mean, you look at Patrick Mahomes, and again, in the fourth quarter of these games, the big third downs, the big plays down there, the decision-making that he makes, and the patience right there to the very end. Right there, you see Kelsey going to space. Again, rolling out right here. He's looking. He's going to take his shots down the field. He finds, again, Tyreek Hill. Those are kind of plays that this inevitably they get them, and he just keeps backing up. And I think, Phil, you talked about before, he's a quarterback that backs up to create the space for himself because he's got the arm strength to get the ball down the field.
Yeah, he's really comfortable throwing off balance, there's no doubt. Look at the numbers, 24, 34, 393, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Couple things that Travis Kelce, we didn't really talk about it. He is the most in sync with a quarterback that I've ever seen. It's like he always is watching Patrick Mahomes when you watch him real close. And Mahomes moves, immediately he reroutes where he's going and gets there. Today, what did he have? He had 8 catches for 136 yards. And all these comebacks, you know what it tells me, Nate? Kansas City got a lot of talent.
Yeah, they got a lot of talent.
They got a lot. So,
you know what I love about working on the show is I have 2 resident QB legends. And I'm always curious when I see quarterbacks taking shots and then they get rattled. I've been in those huddles where a quarterback will throw a pick, he'll take a shot and literally cough his way through trying to get us the play. And I knew he was rattled. I knew the game was over. With Pat Mahomes, he's never rattled. Hands steady. I'm looking at him on the sideline. It's almost like he's smiling after he makes a mistake. And he's a little bit different. Patrick Mahomes.
36-8 in 44 games. Think about that for a second. 36-8 in 44 games. Now, they had a punt return. They had a safety. So they had some extra help on the offensive scoreboard. But still, they're averaging over 30 points per game since he took over as quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs.
The one thing they do, I keep looking at Kansas City, where's the weakness? And I really thought it would show today. I thought Miami's defensive line was going to come out there and kind of take advantage of Kansas City's offensive line, because I really think Miami's defensive line is going to be really good. But what happens is Mahomes is mobile. They move outside the pocket all the time to throw it. They play actions, the screens, all the gimmicks. They help that offensive line out, which, I'm not going to say they're great, but we think they're great because of everything they do and how they protect.
You know what I really love about Andy Reid is 4th and 1 there late in the game. There's no indecision. He takes the clock all the way down. They call timeout. Let's talk about it. He runs a sprint right, Z out, a little rub play for Tyreek Hill. and it's an easy gimme. Like a lot of coaches in that situation are like, let's run the clock down, let's call timeout, let's go over there and we'll try to fake them and get them to jump offside. We'll take the 5 yards and then we'll punt the ball.
He knew what he wanted.
Right, of course, but if you have Patrick Mahomes on the field, it makes the difference, right, Coach? Like if you have Ben Roethlisberger on the field, you're going to go for it. But, there's only about 6 or 7 teams that find themselves in that situation with the quarterback that they trust.
And it's just hard to pattern a football team after the Kansas City Chiefs because it's so hard to find the talent, the speed, the resourcefulness that they have on the offensive side. And then you couple that with Andy, he's diabolically back in the lab just cooking up something else, and that means to see what I can put in there that makes it fun. He does make the game fun. And there's a lot to be said for doing new things, putting players in different positions. You got to keep the game fresh. It's a long 4 months. And I just think the best thing you can do late in the season is keep it fresh. Give them something new to invigorate them. And I think Andy Reid, just his personality in itself, when he walks into the room, it's like, what do you got, Maestro?
Well, that's it, right. Today, That's what it is. He keeps them excited. And, as I watch it through the whole year, every week, if whatever he does, I didn't see as much today. Today is one day that I didn't see him counter. What he usually shows for a week or two, he counters and shows you the opposite. So, plus you take that and do those kind of things, then with the talent he has, he magnifies their talent. There's no doubt about it.
Now hear this. Instant update.
That's right. How about